Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and we have finally reached the end of the look back at the Battlestar Galactica original series and Galactica 1980. But I will put them together as the original Battlestar Galactica. So, single season of Battlestar Galactica, which was 24 episodes, including the pilot, and 10 episodes of Galactica 1980 comes to an end. What a ride it's been. And it is fitting that even though Galactica 1980 is one of, as mentioned by many people who were aware of the show and have seen the show, probably who were people who were there around at that time, like myself. Like I was a 4-year-old kid when the show actually aired, and probably I watched it a little, both that at the age of 4 and a little later. But it is fitting that even though the show is called one of the worst television series of all time, I don't agree. I think there are probably even worse shows, but yeah, the standard is pretty low. Uh, I would say it can make up for it because of the absolute, um, I don't know how to call it. Can I call it awesome? Can I call it brilliant? Can I call it beautiful? Melancholic? Yes. Sad? Yes. But absolutely beautiful final episode. The show got cancelled, and they bring out this episode and totally redeem themselves, in my eyes. I'm not sure about everybody else. I'm part of a Facebook group of the original Battlestar Galactica and Galactica 1980. And a lot of people really hate this show, but they all love this episode. So, yeah, The Return of Starbuck. Let me drink some water. An absolutely amazing episode. The storyline is pretty famous. The storyline is very reminiscent of, excuse me one second, is reminiscent of, I'm actually checking something on my work system. Is very reminiscent of Enemy Mine. If you have seen that brilliant movie, I'm actually going to just check and let you know. And apparently there's another story as well. So Enemy Mine, I mean, pretty similar. I'm not saying it's exactly similar, but Enemy Mine was a novella in 1979. This came out in 1980, so probably they had some, you know, influence, I guess. And there was a movie that came out based on the novella that came out in 1985. Brilliant movie, one of my favorites. It's a must for science fiction lovers and even otherwise. So there is also a movie which is very similar to the storyline. I think I'm going to try and find that. I'll put in the. I think I. Let me check. Oh yeah, it's called Hell in the Pacific, and it's very similar to that as well. But to me, it is pretty similar to Enemy Mine. So we don't have any of the other main cast coming in except for Adama and excuse me. That's Lon Green as Adama and Patrick Stewart, not Patrick Stewart, Patrick Stewart. I think he's got a Dr. Z, sorry, James Patrick Stewart, sorry, that's his full name, not Patrick Stewart. But I think in the show he's actually given us Patrick Stewart. Anyhow, so I've been rambling on for a little while. The story is in Adama's quarters or in his office. Dr. Z comes to him. Dr. Z is a young man, probably like a teenager, like maybe 13 or something like that. He tells him that he's got a dream and he isn't sure if this has got any meaning, because he asks Adama if dreams have any meaning, anything deeper than what it actually is. So Adama says some of them do, maybe some of them are really special. So tell me about your dream. And then he tells, my dream wasn't about me. It was actually about a great warrior, a colonial warrior called Starbuck. And Adama immediately is stunned. So he tells him, please tell me about your dream. So in the dream, we see what actually happens to Starbuck. So Starbuck and Boomer were fighting the Cylons who were attacking the Galactica. Now they haven't mentioned exactly when this is, but assuming Dr. Z is around 13 years old, this would probably be around, little over 13 years ago. And they are ambushed by Cylons. The fleet is also attacked, but Boomer and Starbuck are, in another area, and they far off from the rest of the fleet. So they are attacked, and Starbuck's Viper is damaged, but they manage to destroy all the raiders. One of the raiders isn't completely destroyed. You actually see that their ship is damaged. It's a maneuver that Starbuck makes, which actually draws the admiration of those Cylon Centurions, which is funny. This is the first time we're actually seeing the Cylons actually saying so. He says that was a brilliant move. That is little consolation for us, because he must be a great warrior, because that was a really brilliant move. It's a little consolation because we are now going to crash. Now Starbuck's Viper is badly damaged. There's no way he's going to make it to the fleet, and he knows very well that the fleet cannot come and look for him because they are already under attack. So he tells Boomer to go back to the fleet. Boomer doesn't want to go, but he tells him that, look, dude, there's no point in both of us being lost to the fleet, because they can't afford to lose 2 Vipers and 2 pilots. So he says his goodbyes. He tells him to say goodbye to Athena, so to give his love to Cassiopeia and Athena and everybody else. We assume that Apollo is dead at this time, or has died a little earlier. So he tells him that, I think I might like it where I'm going. So he tells him, says his goodbyes. You see Boomer actually crying because he is aware that he is not going to see his friend, his close friend once again. And so Boomer leaves. Starbuck decides to head for a planet where he will be able to breathe. He finds a desert planet, almost like a desert planet. It's a desert landscape anyway, and he crashes. He is surprised to find out when he comes to that he survived, because he wasn't expecting. But at the very last moment, his escape pod actually jettisoned. So the rest of the ship was damaged, but the pod managed to survive. That's basically the cockpit kind of thing. So he puts out the distress beacon, but he knows they're not going to be able to come. Boomer goes back to the fleet and tells Adama. Adama tells him there is no way we can go back. We have to keep moving on because the enemy keeps pushing us. At the same time, he tells him, I want to save him because he is like a son to me. I can't do anything about it. So Boomer says, I thank you for your honesty. And Adama has a private moment to himself where he says his goodbyes to Starbuck, saying that he loves him. And it was common knowledge. Starbuck was like a third son to Adama after Apollo and Zach having died early on. And like I mentioned, I assume that Apollo has passed away at this particular point, killed or murdered, we don't know. So now Starbuck is on the planet, and he knows he's going to be alone. So he decides to search for some and see. He thinks he may find some other survivors. He might find some other living people. Who knows? He might even find some primitive species who might treat him like a winged god, come from the heavens, and he might have a wonderful time over there. But yeah, and there's no oasis, no civilization. He decides to call the planet Starbuck after him because he discovered it, so to speak. And then he goes, passes across the hill, and then sees the crashed raider. And he initially says, "What did I do to anger the gods that they have done this, played this cruel joke on me?" He takes his weapon and he goes in, but he notices that none of the Cylons are all too damaged, so there's no way. So he's safe. They're completely damaged, and none of them are in commission. So he decides to take part of the raider to fashion a shelter so he can sleep. The nights are very very cold, so he goes and sleeps, and he only got food enough for a few days. The next morning, he feels bored, so he goes to the raid and decides to try to fix one of the Cylons because he's bored. He's looking for companionship. So I don't know what kind of loneliness would actually drive somebody to do that. But what he decides is he takes all three Cylons inside. He finds some manual inside the Raider, and for repairs, and he tries to fix them, drawing power from the Raider. Even though the Raider has crashed, um, the Cylons can still draw power from them. So he hooks up and then fixes it. And the moment the Cylon comes to life, the voiced by Rex Cutter, he tries to kill Starbuck. Draws his weapon and shoots. However, the weapon doesn't work. So Starbuck convinces Sai, who he calls the Cylon, and tells him that culturally we are enemies, but at the same time there's no reason for us to fight because it's only the two of us over here. This confuses Sai enough so that he is, and his voice is a lot more human sounding than the rest of the Cylons. He seems to be curious. His curiosity seems to be tweaked enough for him not to kill Starbuck, and he decides that he's going to teach him about humans because Sai confesses that he doesn't really know. None of them actually know much about humans other than they are enemies of the Empire. So he teaches him how to play a card game named Pyramid. He teaches him about humans, but apparently after a couple of days, Sai tells him that you are bored with me. You're changing the rules of the game to keep yourself interested because I am not a suitable companion for you, and then you deserve to have a woman. Starbuck's like, where are you going to find a woman? So he said, I will find you one, and he goes out in the middle of the night. Starbuck looks for him, but he can't find him, and then he says, what kind of a crazy situation is that I'm actually worried about a Cylons. I'm worried about a Cylon's life. He goes to sleep, and the next morning, Sai brings him a unconscious woman, and Starbuck is stunned. So he takes the woman onto his makeshift bed, discovers she's actually pregnant. So he asks him to go and get some water, and he tends to her. She doesn't speak initially. He feeds her. They start using a rudimentary generator from some of the parts from the Raider to keep himself warm at night. And afterwards, the woman suddenly speaks up and asks him, will you die for me? And he says, you can talk, I didn't know you could actually talk. And it's an odd statement, odd question for somebody to ask the person for the very first time. And she gives him this riddle sort of answers of, he asks him, how did you arrive? I came by ship, and it didn't stay, so I was only 1 year. So initially he makes fun of her, but he tells her that would you die for my child, because this is actually your child. So she tells him that she tells Starbuck that the child is spiritually and not maybe biologically, but yeah. So that's it. So Starbuck is completely confused, and then she tells him that the Cylons will definitely come back because the automatic beacon on the Raider means that they are going to alert, and some Raider or the other is going to come. So he thinks that it's it's just the motherhood the pains of labor pains and the situation that she's in actually talking. So he decides to humor her. He speaks to Sai, and they decide that they will build a makeshift spaceship using leftovers from his Piper and the Raider, and they are able to build a small ship which can actually fit a couple of people. Once they finish, the Angela, that's her name, and a little bit on the nose, she's supposed to be an angel. So Judith Chapman, that's her name. She goes into labor, she gives birth, and it's a young, healthy baby boy. So Starbuck is extremely happy, and then they ask, he sort of asks Sai to be the godfather for like a special friend to the boy. Sai is initially upset and he says, "I'm being overrun by, I mean, I'm being, there's too many humans over here." And he says, we're not friends, we're just enemies," and he leaves. So she tells him that, tomorrow the Cylons will be coming and you need to be ready for Judgment Day. So he asks her, "What is Judgment Day?" He says, "Just be ready." And the next day, while Starbuck is just sitting in the morning on one of the cliffs, he sees that a raider has indeed landed, and there are 3 Centurions on their way towards the crashed raider's beacon. So even if he did switch it off a while back, the raiders still did, the signals didn't reach, so they're actually tracking it and coming. He runs to take Angela and the baby. She's ready. She seems to be knowing all this, and he has no idea about how she seems to be aware of all this stuff. Sai comes in and tells that he's going to go and try and meet them, and he's fixed his the weapon that didn't work, so now it's working. And Starbuck wants him not to go towards the Cylons, but apparently he's trying to do something to save Starbuck and the others. Starbuck and Angela take the baby to the makeshift ship, and he places her and the baby inside. And she tells him, "You are a good person. You know that if you do not, without you, the ship has more chance of actually reaching the Galactica, the fleet." He puts them in the general direction so that they can actually, somewhere or the other, cross paths. And she says, "I know that you are not planning to come." And he says, "Who told you? Who says I'm not coming?" So she says, "Goodbye." And yes, that's actually what he planned to do. And so he tells her that there is a signal that's going to go into towards the ship is on that direction, and he says once it goes into space, it will automatically lower your body temperatures to ensure that you have enough more time to actually reach your destination. So he sends them on their way, and he tells them, "Yes, I do love both of you." And then he has to then hide from the Cylons. While they're approaching his hiding place, Sai comes out and says, "Oh, sorry, that's a point where Sai says, 'I repaired my gun.'" And then he says, "The odds are better if it is 2 against 3 rather than 1 against 3." And then he tells Starbuck to be there, and he approaches the Cylons, and they ask him, "Identify yourself." And he says, "I am," let me see that. The dialogue that he actually says. He says, "I am something." I can't find that. He identifies his rank or his serial number, whatever it is, and he says, they ask him where the human is, and he says, "I extend my weapon that I may perform the following functions." And he shoots at the 2 Centurions. He manages to kill 2 of them or destroy 2 of them, but the third one shoots at Sai, and Sai falls down. Starbuck then shoots the 3rd one, and that guy gets destroyed. So in the last few minutes that Sai still has, will still be able to function, he talks to Starbuck, and Starbuck says, "It's just you and me now, 1 Cylon and 1 human." And Sai finally tells him the words that he never agreed to them being actually friends. He kept saying, "We are enemies." This time he says, "No, Starbuck, not human, not Cylon, friends." And Sai is dead. However, he wasn't alive, but yeah, he loses complete power. He is no longer being able to function. And that's the end of the dream. Dr. C just tells him that we see we're back in Adama's quarters. Dr. C tells Adama that the small child was brought towards the fleet, And Adama stuns him with the truth and tells him that you were that baby. That's the reason why you actually do all this. You came to us. We had no clue as to where you were from. We just adopted you. And now he knows that is actually Starbuck's spiritual son, and that his mother, Angela, who finally appears on top of a cliff in front of Starbuck and says, "This was your judgment day, and I judge you to be this human to be very good and so good." So she is one of the advanced beings, the seraphs. We are actually told, but apparently because she says she judges this mortal, and so she probably is one of the mysterious angels on the ships of light, the seraphs or whatever they call. But yeah, she's probably from them sent to pass judgment on Starbuck. All right, so that's basically the end. So as the episode and the series ends, Doctor sees that if Starbuck is my father, then who is my mother? And Adama tells him, looks towards the windows and says into the stars that the answer is still out there. We have no clue, and that ends the show. The episode Battlestar Galactica 1980 and and Battlestar BST, Living in BST. So that is the end. Now, few points on this particular thing. This is the most popular episode of Galactica 1980. In my eyes, it's one of the best episodes of all time. Any show, I will die on this hill. I watched this episode alone several times on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube if you want to. And of course, I watched it on VHS. I've seen it in the original run. I've seen it many times. Now I have the DVDs. I've been watching it. So it's one of my favorite things of all time. Absolutely love it. It's very melancholic. What happens to Starbuck? So apparently, had the show continued, they would have had another episode in which Starbuck would have been rescued by the mysterious beings in the Angels of, City of Lights, or the Ship of Light, sorry, and he would have become one of them because he was judged to be, judged to be worthy enough to be part of them, and he would be rescued basically. So. Since we don't actually see that, initially it seemed like he would die on the planet alone because he's got nobody with him. Some people have asked, why does he try to take the Cylon Raider and leave? It wasn't in the script. Why couldn't he try and repair Cylon Psi again using parts from the other three Centurions? It wasn't in the script. We don't actually get to see what happens. But yeah, that's basically this thing. So the episode was originally supposed to be titled Starbuck's Greatest Journey and was changed to Starbuck's Last Journey, and finally it became The Return of Starbuck. And by the time this episode aired, the show was actually already cancelled. So the events leading up to, the fact of him getting lost is very similar. In fact, some of the scenes are stolen from the Young Lords. So had the series been allowed to continue, there was a episode that they already written called The Wheel of Fire, and Starbuck would have been rescued by the beings of light to become one of them. We don't know what happens after that. And it was mostly shot in Red Rock Canyon State Park, which is 25 minutes northeast of Mojave, California. And of course, like I mentioned, Angela was one of them, probably. There is no mention of Apollo. We assume that he's already dead. And even though Dr. Z has got vast amounts of knowledge, he's very advanced, he still doesn't know he doesn't know about his origins. And like I mentioned, it's deliberately patterned after a movie called Hell in the Pacific. But yeah, the story to me is more like Enemy Mine. There is a point when Starbuck actually talks, he makes a mistake. It's a mistake in the script because normally they call it a Yaren and not ours. And he tells, when Sai asks him a question, he says, "You have the mentality of a 2-year-old." And then he should have actually said 2-year-old. So apparently they said Dr. Z is supposed to be 10 years old. I thought he's at least 12 or 13. So this should have been around the year 1970 proper. And this is the, of course, even though Athena and Cassiopeia do not appear after BSC and Athena for much longer, at least they are mentioned over here. But we don't know what happens to Sheba, Jolly, Salik, and even Muffy. And I guess that's it. So we come to the end of the show. Yeah, Dirk Benedict did a wonderful job. Rex Cutter did a wonderful job as well. So this is it's this video has been really long, but yeah, Return of Starbuck is definitely one of the best episodes of any science fiction show or any television show for that matter, where two beings from two different cultures, warring cultures, become friends. Right? That's always a wonderful story. So thank you very much, guys, for being part of this journey. Those of you who have stuck around and watched the reviews of this, I will give this episode a 10 out of 10. It has a few flaws, but yes, nostalgically and the way the story is actually done, I cannot give it anything less than a 10 out of 10. It's a beautiful episode, and I think it made me cry the first time I watched it when I was a kid. But I did also cry once many years later. This time no, but I love it. It's kind of imprinted in my brain now, so I kind of know most of the dialogues by heart. So yeah, thank you very much, and this will be the end of Galactica, the old Battlestar Galactica. I'm not going to be doing any more any shows like this episodic way reviews for a while, because it is kind of tiring. Anyway, catch you again soon on other reviews. Good night.